So last year, you might remember, we announced that with Unity 2017, we would be going to subscription. Please welcome Sera and Mike.
Because we're using Unity, we could have redesigned this game for any platform, but we chose mobile. We have a completely redesigned asset store experience here, and this is currently being rolled out to developers. I've also enabled Unity Collaborate. As you can see, I have you, Lucas, and Mike as members of the project, and Unity Collaborate is now a part of Unity Teams.
So what I'm going to do is I've set up a cloud build, which is Unity's cloud-based build service. And I've set up a couple of build targets here. We have our normal Windows platform, and I've added Android. And all I need to do is just click Start Cloud Build and jump over to the dashboard. And we can see our builds are actually already live and in action. And from the very beginning of our development, we can actually begin iterating on device. I've created a very simple waypoint system, much like the Go series. So we can actually, instead of the mouse keyboard, we can actually swipe and move in the direction.
The only issue is there's a couple of waypoints, for example, from here to here, where there's not going to be a nav mesh. Open up my timeline editor here. And as you can see, I've already created a very simple timeline, and I've added in the keyframe animations. The nice thing about timeline is you actually don't have to leave the timeline window to do your keyframing. You don't have to go into the animator window. Let's see it in action when I hit play. So right now you just see he's moving. And I'm going to start by grabbing jump up start, because having some jump might be nice. Then if I hit play, OK. So now I can blend that just by dragging the clip here and hit play again. It flows a lot better. Do a land. OK. So yeah, in just a couple seconds there, I was able to just visually design a sequence for his animations, which is awesome. All right, we have our enemy guard walking down. You can see this all happening in the timeline simultaneously.
The guy looks like he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's walking kind of slow, so I don't know if he knows what's coming. All right, and there we go. I can start swiping here using that waypoint system. And there he goes.
Timeline has a whole API. You can just call timeline.play, get a handle to the component, and you're off and running.
I want to make it into a free-to-play mobile game, but I do need to make some money of it. So what changes do you think we could do to the game flow to make that happen?
I thought that the character selection phase would be a really good opportunity for some monetization using in-app purchases. Yeah, you might want the purple ninja with the side buns. She's pretty cool and has some cool abilities.
All right, and what if I want to try a video reward ad? Do you see any sort of potential rewards that we could use in this game that would make for a good design?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, only a small percentage of players are actually going to use in-app purchases, but you still want to have them there because those people do exist. But a majority of mobile players will just want to keep playing the game. And I know when I'm playing a mobile game, I really don't mind watching a video ad if I get some sort of reward out of it. So I thought a good opportunity for a rewarded ad video would be in the fail state of the game. So say you're playing and you fail a level and you just can't figure out how to do it. Maybe you could watch a rewarded video ad and get a hint or a shortcut on how to progress to the next level.
The strategy with making a living off of mobile games is a little different typically than the strategy you use for a PC game. PC is often premium. Your users pay for the title. But for mobile, we frequently apply a more freemium model. We want to charge for their gameplay experience through ads and through in-app purchases. When it comes to understanding what players are experiencing, you want to take those insights that you gain and make them actionable.
The first thing I want to do is actually create the IP item itself. So I'll go into the window menu right here, and I'll find Unity IAP, and I'll just go ahead and click on IAP catalog. Here, I can just go ahead and type in the ID for an actual IP item. So why don't we just call this one cool character. I'll also have to select a type. In this case, I'll select non-consumable. A non-consumable item is basically any item that you purchase once and never expires. We already have this purchase button here, but just in case you needed to get a button, you can also find that right here under Unity IP, Create IP button. Let's go ahead and just use the button that we already have. I'll go ahead and select the purple ninja IP item. Just hit save. I've already written some code to wire it up. And why don't we go ahead and actually take a look at what that looks like as a part of our game. So I'll wait for the game to load. And then I'll go ahead and navigate to my character selection screen. I'll take a look at this guy. I'll hit purchase, and
Hey,
great.
All right, what about the reward ad?
Sure, rewarded video ads, when they're integrated as part of the storyline, is also another great way to make some extra money from our players, especially those who never spend any money inside of our game. I've done some work already to integrate the video ad itself. Let me just show you what that looks like as part of the gameplay itself. I'll go to level 4, and I'll see if I can trigger the rewarded video ad that I placed inside this particular level. And when a rewarded video ad is done well, you can find good opportunities inside of the game to make sure that they're engaging and appropriate and in an appropriate place, so that you don't really affect any of the gameplay.
So with 2017.1 and Cinemachine, we're giving you these really robust, powerful camera tools. So like you, the artist, and you, the animator, you can come up with your own camera logic in-game cameras, without writing code. And because Cinemachine and Timeline save and play mode, there's 0 iteration loop. It's a game changer. This is Timeline down here. And these are Cinemachine clips. So I'm just going to hit play.
These red ones are Cinemachine cameras?
Yeah, these little clips here. So this is backwards. This is like inverse kinematics for cameras. So what these clips do is they define camera information. So that was a blend between one camera and another camera. There's no camera animation in here. There's no keyframes in here. I'm not animating this camera. These cuts, and the way that this works is you give the cameras intention, and they will perform. These are on-screen compositional guides. And it works just like you're a director or a camera operator. You give the camera intention, you say you want to target this thing, and when it moves, the camera will target it. Watch this. I just overlap these clips. And now, that goes from a cut to a push. We're blending those camera properties. And this is a new feature for 2017.1, and it's called Dolly Track. Let me show it to you. See this line here? This green thing, just like on a film set, this is Dolly Track. And what's crazy about this is because everything's saved. You're not in this state where you're like doing a camera something and then you run the game and you check it and it's sort of like painful multi-second, sometimes multi-minute iteration loop. It's instant. Cinemachine, create Dolly camera track.
In this scene here, you can see there's actually multiple of these Dolly tracks. So when we go to the first bit here, and it's going to blend once we get through the gate here to the second Dolly track. The ninja sneaks up, squashes this guy. You can see, again, the character's movement actually pulls the Cinemachine camera along the dolly.
I want to check in with Mark if there's anything we should do from like a live ops perspective that really makes sense to do now before we ship.
There's a lot of things about our games, specific events that we might want to track as well too, including these new levels that we just placed in. And Unity Analytics just came out with a great new feature called Standard Events. And what Standard Events is it provides a curated list of game-specific events that makes it really easy. It takes out a lot of the guesswork in terms of additional events that we might want to put into our game to track. So one of the things that I've already put in right now is something called Level Complete. I can just do that. The name of the event itself is called Level Complete, and I'm also passing in active level as a suggested parameter so that I can have context for this particular standard event. What I've done is use remote settings to pass in a key and a value for difficulty, and so later on, even after we've published our game, we can tune our game in real time.
You have some thoughts on how you could do game trailers like from within Unity?
This trailer, I think we're going to do highlights of each character, and I don't want to do every single one, and so we got Mikey's going to be working on one, I'm working on another one. We can kind of have multiple people contributing to this same cutscene at the same time. Okay, so I got this idea right here, and it's a rough, we're trying stuff out, we push in, and it's kind of like a Reservoir Dogs sort of thing. You can see we're changing these camera cuts, and we got some post effects mixing, and maybe we want to animate the light so it blooms up more. These are rough ideas. And then we got this other guy, this warrior. We click over to his timeline. You can see we've got his timelines here. And he's got this sort of crazy anime background thing. And we're doing some cuts, and he's chopping stuff up. And that's yet another idea. But this is where it all comes together. This is a new feature, 2017.1 in timeline. It's called the control track. And look what it does. You've got another timeline. It's like a master track. It's like the highest level. And each of these clips is calling the other timeline. If I wanted to move this around and put the warrior first, And then The Alchemist, and that's too long, so we can just
Why
shorten
would
that
I
clip.
even want to make a trailer in Unity instead of just in like After Effects or Final Cut?
Well, like, think of the alternatives. Like, you've got everything in Unity, it's all looking good, right? So then you want to do it somewhere else. You got to like get all the assets out. You got to like recreate the shaders and lighting in Maya. And you got to render it out. Then you got to take all those frames and go to like a, like a Final Cut or Premiere or whatever, and then edit it there. There's all these stages, and like the end of the line is so far away from the start. So we can render it out of here. Window, recorder, video. Bam!
Mark, can you show us what kind of things we can do from a live ops perspective?
Sure. So, we've gone through with our soft launch, and we're starting to get some early data about our players and how they're behaving. Unity Analytics, gives us a really good, ready-to-use dashboard that gives us metrics around active players, sessions, retention, and the revenue data.
This whole dashboard stuff, that's what you get if you turn on analytics in the editor, right?
That's exactly right. Unity Analytics is free to use for everyone.
Okay, so what are we looking at here?
So this is a funnel using the standard event that I integrated earlier into my game. And the great thing about this particular standard event is that this funnel populated automatically using the context of the data that standard events uses. So, it looks like looking at this funnel, players are blowing through each level, which might indicate that the game itself might be a little too easy. So why don't we try tuning our game and changing the difficulty level a bit to see if we can improve player engagement. So I have my remote settings dashboard right here, and like I mentioned before, we can use remote settings to take immediate action in my game. I have it set to easy right now. Hit play, and as you can see, as I pull up the scene view, we only have a couple of enemy characters in this courtyard. Maybe that's why players are finding this particular level. We'll go back to our dashboard. Type in hard. As soon as I click sync, these changes get saved in Unity Analytics, and the next time players play my game, these configurations get pulled down and get applied to the gameplay experience. So why don't we go back to level 4, and there you go. As you can see, we've changed the number of enemy characters. And remote settings is super flexible. We can start to use it in a variety of different ways to tune our game once it's gone live.
Also note on the side, look at all the awards it's won at film festivals. Stunning. So after that came out, the team that did that, a very talented team, put all the assets together, and it's on the asset store. It's free. I downloaded these assets, and I put them into a scene because I wanted to mess around with some of the new Cinemachine features and our new post-processing stack. So here we got the 3 atom guys, and they're beautiful. And I want to show you this idea one more time, just so everyone's got it. We're real-time composing these guys.
So these red things, they're camera clips, right?
These are the camera clips.
Or do you call them Cinemachine clips?
The they're Cinemachine clips on timeline. And we're saying which each one's tracking. So I'm going to hit play. And we've got a little bit of, we've got full control over where we're looking. Let me just turn the guides off. And this is a tripod shot. And this is a procedurally tracked shot. And what I mean by that is I'm not animating the camera. I'm just saying, and also too, this is edit mode. You know how I was saying we've tried worked so hard to get everything to work in play mode? Well, we've done the inverse of that too, where everything works in edit mode, just completely blurring the lines between edit and play mode. So I'm in edit mode and everything's working. And I'm just saying, hey, I want to be this far back. And you've created this camera. So watch this. We got a cut here. We go from tracking this guy, tracking his head bone. There goes lunch.
The party's pretty good back there.
Party's good. And then we cut to this shot. But watch this. We're going to blend from this track shot to the follow shot. And again, I'm not animating these cameras. We're just giving them intent. And as soon as I come up to that blend, you can see there's a diagonal. We perfectly blend into a track shot. So this is an entirely different way of working.
So all of this sort of replaces keyframing and baking a camera animation is something like Maya, right?
That's right. Now, you can keyframe. We made it so you can keyframe as much as you want. So it's familiar, and if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But this is another way to do it. And I think once you get into this, you're going to get addicted and you hardly keyframe anymore after that. It's called a Clearshot. And what we're doing is we're doing shot evaluation. So we'll actually look at the shot, and we'll determine if it's a good shot or not. And if it's not a good shot, we're going to go to the next camera in a priority stack, which you set up. So you can see this is one big clip. Let me just close this. And the Clearshot has got multiple cameras in it. This is priority 20, so it's like the one I want the most. Less, and it goes down. So when I go to the Clearshot here, I say, okay, what's the shot that I want? Well, in this particular shot, I want to see the guy's neck bone. I want to compose it like however you want to compose it. But I sense doom, because look at this. There's a wall right here. So watch what happens. As soon as the wall blocks a shot, we cut to the next high priority shot. And as soon as that shot's invalid, we cut to the next. This is the post-processing stack. So I'm going to just turn this off. You can put on the main camera, and it's over your entire project. You can put them on timeline as subclips, or what I like to do is I like to put them on individual cameras. So look at this. Here it is right here. And this is the post-processing stack. Now, I've turned everything on. This is PC. We've got, fancy depth of field. We've got screen space, reflection, ambient occlusion. But what I'd like you to take away from this is they're just really well done. Like, the effects are very, very filmic. So look at this. So you can see right here, we've got all this blue in the sky. You're gonna have to trust me. I'm not looking at the screen. I'm just going to get those to line up, and I can suck all the color out of the sky.
So that's Unity 2017.1. It's a release that's really an enormous step up, especially in terms of what I like to call artist empowerment. It's the release that ships timeline that we really think is going to change the way artists and programmers work together. You can get your hands on the release candidate of Unity 2017 today at that URL, and you can download the post-processing stack and Cinemachine from the asset store. Now, Cinemachine and Timeline are not the only things in Unity 2017, but I can't stand here forever. Here on the other side, you can see a whole range of areas that have seen Joachim Ante. Come on stage, Joe.
I want to talk to you about the upcoming C# job system and C# compiler technology. So it's a scene made by our friends at a handful of egos. We have these spaceships flying around. And to show the C# job system, I want to add a bunch of simulated voids in. So here we go. We have 2,000 of these agents flying around. They are completely simulated in C#. They have their own behavior. Each one does alignment, steering. Let's take a look at when we scale it up. So we're going to put in 20,000 of these voids. All right. Okay, 20,000 voids running in C# on the main thread. That's how we normally write our code today. With the C# job system, you can get this code to run a lot faster. Check this out. All right, 40 frames per second. Basically, this is an 8-core machine. With the C# job system, you can very easily take your code, split it into subtasks, and run it in parallel to each other. And also, this code is running in parallel to other subsystems in Unity doing their work. It's very difficult to write safe multi-threaded code without any race conditions. So we wrote a lot of tools that are directly integrated into the editor that help you find any possible race conditions that you might create. So we're going to put 200,000 agents in there. And now, we're going to enable our new compiler tag. There you go. This new compiler tag, it's a specialized compiler that we built for C# jobs. And the idea behind it is that we're really taking advantage of the special structure that you have when you create C# jobified code. This compiler, it understands math and geometry unlike other compilers. So it can do very high-level optimizations of your code that usually compilers don't even attempt to do. That we can autovectorize your code better than other compilers. So autovectorization basically means that you get, basically we can, on a CPU, it can run a single instruction on multiple pieces of data at the same time. By doing that, we can get massive speedups, and that's part of this massive 11x speedup that we got from the C# compiler. So this compiler really, it automatically vectorizes your code. The combination of that is a 110x speed improvement that we can get.
One of the big things that we're working on in graphics is scriptable render loops. Basically taking the Unity render loop that is a black box and completely turning that box inside out and making it completely configurable from C#. There's a new HD render loop coming, which is actually implemented in C#. So this is a interactive demo that I'm controlling here with my PlayStation controller, and that's running on a PC, and now I'm going to walk around a bit.
How do I remember all this? When did I make these memories? You need a brain to make memories.
An enormous amount of neuron connections were formed in the last month since you came back. Decades worth of memories, we think. We just don't know.
I'd have fainted. Even though he had told me about them.
You think that was one of them?
I know.
I hope that gives you a little taste of what might be coming in the future and gives you some confidence that if you're aiming for the really high end of graphics, that you're in a good place with Unity.